New Orleans Pelicans. This is a disaster in New Orleans, and we've got to break it down with the trade deadline, everything kind of circulating around the trade deadline. And from someone that's followed the Pelicans, it is looking bleak in New Orleans. Real quick, I want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I'm back in the Windows studio, and it's soundproof in here. It's good for now. We got to get out of the dorm room. So, the Pelicans front office is delusional. This is no surprise to anyone that follows this team, granted how this last offseason went down. So the Pelicans entering the trade deadline, there were rumors about Zion Williamson's draft stock, Trey Murphy, some other guys that maybe had value, and a lot of these guys were just warranting significant consideration of, oh, these guys are valuable. Trey Murphy III is valuable. And I would totally agree, right? So Trey Murphy III coming into the deadline this season. Now, this has been a down season generally for New Orleans. He's averaging 22 points, almost 4 assists, almost 6 rebounds, and I'm 0.3 blocks. Sorry, I read that wrong. I was like, 3 blocks? That doesn't make any sense. But 1.5 steals. He's been great, and he kind of, right now in terms of trade value, he ranks 7th in small forwards. That could be a huge, huge piece for a championship roster. Same thing right now in New Orleans. Saddiq Bey has been playing great. I think he's averaging close to 16 points this season. He's like, the Pelicans just elevated his draft stock at 26. He can be a big piece on a championship level team. And here's the issue for New Orleans. We'll get back in here to this depth chart and then back over to here. Here's the issue. New Orleans thinks that they have a playoff roster. Guys, we'll take you here. New Orleans is second to last right now in terms of record. And not only that, of course, you gave away your first-round pick to the Atlanta Hawks for Derek Queen, which Derek Queen's a great player, but it was still the wrong move at the time. And who knows what kind of lottery we'll get, but I do not understand, coming from someone that has followed the Pelicans for now really 8 years pretty closely, for this team to be so delusional. I can't get it. My Brandon Ingram trade video last year was my first video to hit 100 views, and that was a sad time for a delusional front office, but things are just not making any sense. How do you think that you have a playoff roster? This team is actively trying to win. They don't have the first-round pick. Why give away a top 5 pick to Atlanta if you don't have your own pick? But they can't win. And it's not like health has been a huge issue. Zion was out a little bit here and there. Trey Murphy's been out a little bit, same with Herb Jones. But right now, this core is here, and DeJounte Murray is eventually supposed to come back. There's a lot of guys with serious value. So what they did do in the trade deadline was Jose Alvarado traded for Dalen Terry. It was Jose Alvarado for Dalen Terry and 2 second-round picks from the Knicks and cash considerations. I'm not exactly sure, but Jose Alvarado was my favorite player on the Pelicans roster and just the energy guy for New Orleans. He brought the Grand Theft Alvarado stuff. He was loved by the city, the most beloved player probably, and he was the only move that this team made in this trade deadline. And to get back 2 second-round picks, okay, maybe those guys can turn into something. The Pelicans generally draft pretty well. This is the thing. They draft well and they manage horribly. So no shocker here. The Knicks, you get an A+ for this trade. Getting bench minutes for Jalen Brunson. This guy can be just a hound defensively, especially playoffs. He can really ignite a fan base. He can give you TJ McConnell-type minutes that we just saw the Pacers take all the way to the finals. This guy can be a great player off the bench and really just a loved player in the city. Way worth whatever he was getting paid. I think he was on a $4 million contract per year or something. Just an absolute steal for whoever got him. So that's a huge win for the Knicks. You give up 2 seconds, but that's really nothing. And I can't wrap my head around what this team's plan is. I mean, what in the world is your future? DeJounte Murray's been out a year with the ruptured Achilles. Achilles take anywhere from 8 to 12 months. We'll see him if he comes. We'll see if he comes back this year. But even getting DeJounte, I can't really imagine a whole lot different of a situation for New Orleans. Now, this is the issue. Some of these other teams that were way down or that were in a different spot traded some of their assets that had value. Washington, for example, went and got Anthony Davis. They traded off some solid assets, but gave up capital to go get Anthony Davis. And New Orleans had that ability. Trey Murphy probably could have snuck out 2 or maybe 3 first-round picks, depending on who the buyer was. Now, maybe New Orleans is trying to trade him in the offseason. He's got a great contract. I think he's at $28 million a year. This year, he's at $25 million a year. That's less than Josh Giddey, and he can be a really capable and really strong wing, not only for shooting, but attacking, creating for his teammates. He's a good defender. Same with Herb Jones. Herb Jones was on an all-defensive team 2 seasons ago. Herb Jones is a fantastic point of attack defender. The Pelicans kept him over Dyson Daniels because Herb fit a little bit better in the roster. You know, of course, not the greatest move at the time. I was a little hesitant about letting go of Dyson, but Herb had played well. He'd already been on and off a defensive team. He was on a great contract, and Dyson didn't have the opportunity in New Orleans, so you let him go. Turns into an all-defensive first-team caliber player. This is how things go in New Orleans, and the hard part for me is you don't want to do what the Chicago Bulls have done, where you let all your guys get to the last year in their deal or lose some of their trade value. You think your team is better than they are. You give up basically all their value, and you don't get really anything back. The Bulls have squandered the talent and the value of Zach LaVine and Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Vucevic, all these guys that had value. New Orleans should not be looking to try to compete right now. This team is not good enough. They don't win. And there's good players on this team, but you can get great value back for that. I think New Orleans is in this purgatory, and it's a few years from completely collapsing and being in an awful spot. Now, let's say, for example, you traded out Trey Murphy and you traded out Sadiq Bey, or you kept Bey, you traded out Murphy, you traded out Poole, and maybe you traded out Yves Missi, and you end up with a couple of young players and 3 to 4 first-round picks. I mean, that seems like a lot better of a spot here where you've got players that are good, but it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work on the floor, when guys are healthy, you don't get many healthy seasons out of Zion. He's played more games this season than he has in the past 2 or 3, I think. And to see this team just squander it, we'll send the lottery real quick. Oh, New Orleans falls to 5. Well, unfortunate for Atlanta, but that's not the way it's looking. And I can't really understand this situation. So, yeah, as a New Orleans Pelicans fan, it's going to be hard to really look for positives for this team. But I will say, I will be cheering Jose Alvarado on with full voice in New York. He's a great player. I love his energy, and I might be buying a jersey as well. But boy, just a disappointing season for Alvarado, and a disappointing season for New Orleans, and really a disappointing effort by Joe Dumars in this front office. Again, I think the players are great. The front office is really bad, and New Orleans is going to have a lot of problems to fix here in the future.